So the game started with interesting move as d3. So usually white develop the knight or the bishop. So pushing the pawn to d3 is a little passive because it's not as close as d4 to the center. Another thing is the pawn will slow down the development of the light square bishop. And the indication for black is we can develop our pieces as fast as we can and also control the center. So first of all, knight c6 it's fine, and either knight c6, knight f6, I think either move is fine as long as we are developing pieces. Knight c3, knight f6, knight f3, and d5. Yeah, I like how we come to the center because, as I said, white is really slow in doing so. And also bishop b4 is something we can consider, pin the knight. And d5, white is pinning our f6 knight, and we exchange the pawns, or maybe pushing further so that we will have a greater space than our opponent at the king side, on the queen side. So if we have a larger space, usually it will be easier for us to attack or maneuver pieces. So we can choose to close the center. And if white play knight d5, we can play queen d6 to make the knight unpin. And if exchange, bishop probably back to, I don't know, bishop h3. Well, the bishop will be facing a very strong pawn chain at the dark square, and we can play bishop e7 to protect the pawn. So in this position, black has better control at the center. Even though there are double pawns, we have a semi-open file as a composition, and also, as I said, the dark square bishop is pretty stuck at the king side, and we can move bishop to e6 and later to attack on the queen side, because look at these two diagonals. Our bishops are really powerful aiming at the queen side. So we take the pawn, knight takes, bishop e7, unpin the knight. It's still good. I think black's better because we have a center pawn. White, as I said, the d3 pawn is blocking the bishop. Exchange, rook b1. Rook is protecting b2, but I don't think that's necessary. Bishop f5, knight g3, bishop g4. Or maybe I will move bishop back to e7, e6, because I really want to attack the queen side. Since the rook moved to b1, the a2 pawn is hanging. Even though we cannot take the pawn, maybe we can, because if b3 can take the rook, I mean, attacking on the queen side could be my direction for attacking the opponent. And bishop g4, h3, we exchange the knight. To be honest, I feel like the bishop is more powerful than the f3 knight because it's an open position, which means bishop usually can control many squares than a knight. So I will move the bishop back, attack e6, attack a2. Exchange, queen d6. Well, we want to develop the queen, but I will move it to e7 instead, or I would castle to make the king safe, and later rook e1. The problem is queen d6 is knight, white will kick our queen, and then knight controls center. This is not it's not comfortable. And knight takes, pawn takes, g3. White is going to develop knight to bishop to g2, and then we kick the queen, control the center, and also attack c2. And on the other hand, I think the queen takes over pawn. I don't think losing a pawn is not a problem, because first of all, our knight has moved to a very nice position. It's attack c2, and we can castle to connect the rooks, to protect the rooks. and later we can move the rook to b file to attack the white pawn. So for example, we can castle, and if white, for example, play bishop g2, or bishop g2, white will lose the pawn. But what about c3? And we can attack the queen. And the queen has go to, if d5, we'll kick that. If e4, we'll keep kicking that. I think the best square is g2. And as I said, we can check the king and knight a3 to win the b2 pawn. And even though we lost the b7 pawn, we take the b2 pawn back. And also the important thing is we can attack the queen as soon as possible with opening the b file. So actually losing the b7 pawn, making this file open, which favors us. And yeah, black's better. But the point is, I think as the queen reaches b7, we need to be aware of the rook. So we made the move knight c2. I assume we didn't calculate much about the moves following up from both sides, because actually, this is a check. It makes us happy. I understand that, but we need to calculate what is the move after this one. So king d2. It's straightforward. Attack the knight, and also the queen is attacking the rook. And I think black is losing material. I think the only move to rescue the piece is queen b4. There's a double attack, which can offer exchange, and we can save maybe the knight and the rook. But we have, but in this end game, I think white is better. Also, as shown on the evaluation bar, because as I said, it's open position. A bishop is better than the knight, because bishop is a long-range piece. The bishop can control a lot more space than the knight. And also look at the pawn structure. We have two isolated pawns, three isolated pawns, and these two double pawns. White only have one isolated pawn. So the pawn structure, regarding to that, white is also black better than black. But queen b4 is still the only good move, because we can avoid losing pieces. And we made knight 5 but losing a rook. And yeah, I don't think we have any chance after losing a rook. So my point is, if we attack our opponent, or if we feel like we have some opportunity to attack our opponent, we need to calculate at least 3 or even 5 moves ahead, and think about the consequence, or the advantage, and made a trade-off. So knight c2, king d2, and what can we do next? So we need to be aware of the plan of our opponent. Think from our opponent's perspective. And that's super important. And that's it.